Hello YouTube, TWK here, and welcome to my stream of conscious style video on the first game under the WWE name to be released on the PlayStation 2, WWE SmackDown, Shut Your Mouth! The gameplay is incredibly arcadey and fast-paced, like very little selling going on here. Hard to believe that this series would eventually become the simulation-based WWE 2K games we have today. My favorite feature of the gameplay is the ability to either go into a matrix pause of a finisher, thus giving it a super cinematic feel, or doing an instant replay, although my timing is always a bit off for this one. Before we get to the match types, can we just take a moment to appreciate SmackDown Shut Your Mouth's goddamn amazing menu? And appreciated! Now for the matches. Outside of the normal stipulations that you'd expect, we have Special Referee. Here you take the role of the match official, and you can either be super fair or perform a fast count, but there's no way to perform a Montreal. There's also the I Quit match, where you have to damage your opponent to the point where they utter the 2 words in 5-letter phrase. On that note, these backstage areas are still among the best I've ever seen in pretty much any wrestling game. The devs over at Yuke's did not have to go this hard, however, I am super glad that they did. Next is the ladder match, which uptakes the mechanics from Just Bring It of just grabbing the belt to hanging onto it for an extended period. Not a fan of this mechanic, and it stays around for several years. And believe it or not, this is the first WWE game to have a true and proper Hell in a Cell match, unless WrestleMania 18 has it, but I haven't played that game in absolute ages, and, well, barely anyone else has from what I can recall. Regardless, for most people, this is the first time they've been able to play this match type as they've seen it on TV, which is kind of bonkers. What's also bonkers is the fact that the Hardys and Tajiri have rip-off versions of their entrance themes. Kind of odd that the devs couldn't get the rights to them, but I'm no legal expert, so I'll leave this one up to the legal eagles of YouTube to figure out. Now for the greater wrestlers, and for the record, I downloaded this save several years ago and whoever made these did a pretty good job. Certainly better than, well, pretty much anything I could have done, that much I know. And with all of that out of the way, let's discuss the season mode. First off, you get to, for the most part, decide which wrestlers get to be in it. Next, you get to choose who is on what brand, which is kind of a big deal at the time due to the fact that the initial draft happened just several months prior to the game launching. And since I chose to play as old Stone Cold Steve Austin, decided to choose Monday Night Raw, because Vince McMahon wouldn't stop staring at me with those beady little eyes. Also, yes, this was the era of the genesis of the beginning of the what chance. Thanks for that, Steve, you bastard! First off, we had to compete in a number 1 contenders tournament to decide who the next contender for the Undisputed Championship would be, and this was during a time when this was the undisputed title. Let me tell you, that is what I call a championship design. After becoming number 1 contender, the champion, The Undertaker, constantly trolls us about the surprise stipulation of the match until he just lays it on us. If we lose, we get suspended. Also, William Regal gets added in, making it a triple threat match. Okay, whatever. Oh, and one thing I love about the season mode are the pay-per-view intros. They really allow us to get a good view of this set, and like many people, I missed the design of classic WWE stages. Anyways, we pin Regal to become the new undisputed WWE Champion. And because we're the champion, sometimes we appear on the blue brand known as SmackDown, which at the time was taped on Tuesdays and broadcast on Thursdays. My, how times have changed. I will say the storylines I came across during my brief time in the season mode weren't really anything special, but they did keep me invested, certainly 100 times better than WrestleMania 2000. Another thing, roaming around backstage in first person is rather rad. That's a feature I wouldn't mind them bringing back. And one last note, this is a long season mode. It goes through at least 2 years, and when you consider that you have 5 shows per month to play through, oh boy, you're in for a long ride. If a lengthy single-player mode is what you're after, then this game has more than enough content for you. Wait, I just remembered something. Undertaker's title entrance. Why is this not in more games? I mean, come on. It can't be that hard to capture, right? Video editor teed up here. I can't believe I almost forgot to talk about Steve Austin's title entrance, or the lack thereof, because look at this. Look at this abomination. I hate it. Get it off my screen. Let's move on. Overall, WWE SmackDown Shut Your Mouth is one hell of a game. Definitely not for everyone, especially those who prefer a more realistic experience. Still, this game is a vast improvement over Just Bring It in pretty much every way, and I can easily recommend it to anyone in the mood for a good grappling game. And that is the video. As for what's next, why don't we take a trip back into the Cape Crusaders' great ghastly gothic town? Yes, nailed it in one.